everybody, and welcome to Tipsy Future, a YouTube series where me and a guest kind of go through the upcoming month's astrology. So, my name is Kristee McClure. I am a psychic medium, and I run the business Cultivation with Cassidy. So, yeah, I do psychic stuff, and that's what I do.
I'm Kristee. I'm still new to all this, but getting there.
Kristee and I worked together at a pot shop in Colorado. That's where we are based. And Kristee's super cool, and she's like a Gemini Cancer cusp, which is pretty much perfect for the month of June. But yeah, so we're just gonna get started. We're already tipsy. So yeah, Tipsy Future, obviously, like, we've been drinking, we have been drinking a little bit. We have been vaping a little bit, maybe. We've been doing some stuff, alright?
Edibles, perhaps.
We've been having some fun. We've been having some puppy chow, muddy buddy edibles. We've been drinking some beer and some wine. It's cool. We're going to talk to you about astrology at this point in time. So,
I'll try to, at least.
June is the beginning of a clusterfuck, but it's just stage 1 of stage 2, and they're both pretty much equally hard, but for different reasons, but we'll get to it. July seems a little bit more tumultuous, but this is pretty shitty too, but I'll also tell you the best ways to get through it, because honestly, all astrology is like a default energy, and you are 100% in control of yourself and how you feel at any point in time, so you can rise above it if you are aware. So, let's get started. On June 3rd, we have a new moon in Gemini. So this moon is pretty chill, doesn't have any crazy aspects to it. It's kind of just new beginnings and new ideas, honestly. So, like, Kristee's a Gemini, mostly dominated by Gemini.
Yes.
So when you think about, like, what happens to you when you get a spark of a new idea? Like, I know you go and you research and you, like, when you have something, like, you need to know everything about it.
Yes, I'm definitely always obsessed with absorbing as much information as possible. So if there's ever a new hobby, a new job, a new anything.
A new jobby.
Yeah. New anything, I always need to research as much as possible, whether that's Google or just buying books, or, I mean, I just try to get as much information as possible.
Yeah, she's kind of like an encyclopedia, essentially.
I try.
It's just so much mental, like, just knowledge and discussion and talking and ideas. And so that's, like, basically the gist of this new moon on the 3rd. And then on the 4th, the very next day, Mercury goes from Gemini, which is its home sign, so that very talkative, imaginative, kind of like ideas and mental intelligence. It goes from that into Cancer, which is this very kind of moody, emotional sign. So your communication is going from being very logical and kind of like smooth and on point and probably comfortable,
yes,
into Cancer, which actually you're on the cusp of. So you're kind of into both.
It's still very comfortable for me, honestly.
Well, yeah, because you're both. It's like, right, you can be this very logical, but then you also have this, like, I'm sure, like, kind of on the other side when nobody's watching, this, like, emotional sense, right?
Definitely. Which, I mean, is kind of funny because I always felt, being a Gemini with the twins, you definitely have two different sides to you, and I mean, that's definitely how I feel.
Yeah, for sure. And so it kind of goes from Mercury and Gemini into Cancer. So your sense of communication being very logical and kind of more emotional. And then from there, on the 8th, we have Venus going from Taurus into Gemini. So Venus is at home in Taurus. That's her home sign. She loves it. It's, like, beautiful. It's full of pleasure and beauty. And then going into Gemini, at least for me, I feel like she's more flirty, more, like, sociable, things of that nature. Ramona. We have this awesome dog named Ramona, and she just knocked down the screen.
I didn't even see she did that. I just heard the noise. Wow.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run and, like, close the door real quick. At least, just, like, at this point...
Real life. It's happening.
So, at least, so, like, it's less noisy, at least. We're not gonna get the cuteness this time around, but we will eventually. Anyway, so, basically... So, on the 8th, Venus goes from Taurus into Gemini, which, is a pretty cool thing. It's very social, kind of flirty, a little bit ramped up in that aspect. I don't know what your Venus is in, but...
It's in Taurus.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can speak on that.
Yep.
Like, to some point.
And my Mercury's actually in Gemini, so... It's weird.
There you go. Here we go. I knew you were, like, the perfect person to have on for June, for sure. So that's a thing that's happening. So a little bit more, like, social and flirty instead of, like, kind of sensual and homey and, like, wanting to kind of settle down and kind of be rooted with someone. It's more of a sense of, like, oh, like, look at this person and look at this person and look at this person and, like, maybe look at all these people, you know? But, yeah, and then from there, on the 14th, we kind of have the big bugaboo, which is Mars opposing... Excuse me. Saturn. So Mars is going to be in Cancer opposing Saturn in Capricorn. So Saturn is in its home sign in Capricorn. I am dominated by Capricorn and Saturn. It really kind of sucks because it's very heavy. It's very much like structure and tradition and like almost like a paternalistic, like Saturn is like, I'm not mad at you, I'm disappointed in you. Like, that's what Saturn is, and it's very much this wall. It's kind of like, oh, you want to have fun? Great. But also, like, here's the work you have to do to get there. So, Mars is in its detriment in Cancer, because Mars likes to be in, like, Aries, right?
Right.
Where it's, like, masculine and fast and quick. So, Mars in Cancer, instead of wanting, like, Mars wants to go quick. It wants to get things done. It wants to have action. Mars in Cancer makes it kind of emotional. And so you want to kind of like really act quickly on your emotions, which is not always the best thing to do. And then having it oppose Saturn. Saturn is kind of like this wall. So depending on where you have Cancer and Capricorn in your chart, which is also where the eclipses are this season, next month, and where the nodes of fate are. So Cancer's in the north node, that's where we're going towards, what we're going to grow. Capricorn's in the south, what we're letting go of, the structures that are keeping us back from growing what our heart's passion is. So, this is like hitting my chart really hard all year. So that's why I'm probably a mess all the time, but it's fine. And yeah, it's just this, you have to see where it is in your chart, but it's a sense of like really wanting to go forward and really being passionate about doing so, but kind of like running into walls and trying to figure out what you can do about that. And a positive way you can use this energy is just to like, when in doubt, just do something. Sometimes you see a mountain and you're like, there's no way. There's like no way I can get through this. But sometimes you just have to do in order to get through. So, do in order to get through, Capricorn dominant, 2K19. So that's pretty rough, but that's a thing that starts on the 14th, alright? 17th, we got a full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is cool. It's about learning, expansion, growth, knowledge, traveling. It's kind of like, and full moons are about wrapping up. So it's kind of like wrapping up big ideas around things that you started 6 months ago when we had a new moon in Sagittarius. So when we had a new beginning 6 months ago, it's kind of like wrapping up those big ideas. So like a phase of a business, or maybe a job, or maybe, you know, I can't remember what the specific things... What are they called? Aspects. Can't remember the aspects of this. But, yeah, that's the gist of it, in short. Let's see, we're at 9 minutes. Okay, we can do it. 19th, We have Mars and Cancer opposing Pluto and Capricorn, which is also hitting the nodes of fate. So that's very similar to what's going on the 14th with the Mars and Saturn opposition. It's pretty much the same. Pluto, the only difference between him and Saturn is that he is kind of like the lord of death and transformation, which is also, so I'm like Capricorn and Scorpio ruled, so Pluto and Saturn are kind of like all up in my shit, so that's cool. Mars is going to be opposing both of those, so everything that I'm doing in my life that has to do with action is going to be opposed, which is great. But it's fine because I'm equipped with that, and now I can, like, droll through the mountain. And then, let's see, on the 20th, Neptune goes retrograde in Pisces. This is on your birthday.
Yes.
So, I think, is it the 20th or the 21st? One of these days, it must be the 21st. The 21st, I think, is when the sun goes into Cancer, because you're on the cusp.
Right. There have been some things that I've read that still consider the 21st as a Gemini, and then 22nd as Cancer, but I know a lot of people that think of themselves as Cancer on the 21st, so I mean...
Yeah.
I don't know. But around that time, yes.
I mean, who knows goddamn anything? Not me, that's for sure. But especially, so I don't have, like, none of my houses are in Pisces, but I have my Saturn in Pisces in my first house, which is frustrating for, like, a Capricorn dominant person, because I'm like, yes, like, work and success, but then I have my Saturn, like, work and success planet in Pisces, which is like, just drink a little bit and, like, have a little bit of weed and, like, take some naps and, you know, take a bath and then lay in the sun. It's fine. And so, Neptune going retrograde in Pisces is a sense of, like, Neptune is at home in Pisces. So going retrograde in its own sign, it's at home in its own sign. So it's kind of like reflecting upon this, like, dreamy, nebulous. Neptune is very nebulous, and so is Pisces. Very artistic, very, like, poetic, very, almost like gaseous, you know? If you're thinking about, like, I always think in terms of water. It's like, Capricorn is like an ice cube or something, and, like, Taurus would be like an ice cube, and then you have, like, water, which would be like Cancer and Scorpio and stuff, and then you have the nebulous kind of air stuff, which is like Pisces and Gemini in a totally different way. I mean, Gemini's nebulousness is very, like, it's like an intelligent blob of nebulousness, but, like, a brain in a jar, but Pisces nebulousness is just, like, a super, like, a hippie that it's just on so many mushrooms. Like, that's what Pisces is. It's just, like, just poetic as hell, which is beautiful. Pisces is basically art, which is fine, but, you know. One time I was with this dude who was, like, a triple Pisces, and I was like, holy cannoli!
So, sun, moon, rising, then?
Yeah, sun, moon, rising.
God.
Like, the most incredible artist. Like, like, his art, like, I would not be surprised if he was, like, actually famous for his paintings someday. Like, he is very, very good. But I was like, this is a lot of emotion for me.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, I've got a lot of Scorpio in me, but I'm just like, damn, this is a lot of emotion for me.
I have Gemini, Sun, Moon, Mercury, maybe somewhere else too. But yeah, that's a lot. Capricorn rising, though.
Capricorn. It's cool that I incarnated into that karmic lesson. It's fine. Anyway, Saturn is also the planet of karma, just an FYI. Sweet. So, I guess one of the last things that we're going to talk about is, on the 26th, Mercury goes from Cancer into Leo. So Mercury, that's a dope bird.
It's a robin.
This beautiful robin just landed. It's the simple and small things.
I got emotional seeing a bald eagle fly over me driving earlier. I was like, this is America. Is awesome.
Yeah, honestly, Colorado's so special. I'll have to do... Yes. I'll have to do more videos in the mountains. I don't really care for... Oh, it's because of my wine. Okay, there's a bee hanging out because of my wine. It's fine. Okay, let's finish this up. So Mercury goes from Cancer into Leo, so this communication... So it kind of changes signs basically twice this month. So at first, on the 4th, it goes from Gemini into Cancer. So from its home sign of talkative communication into emotional whatever. Then, at the end of the month, on the 26th, it goes from that emotional Cancer into Leo, which is a very bright and proud stance. It's kind of like a public speaker going to open mic, like speaking your truth, telling people things, like singing, being really open about your communication, things like that. But I do want to also point out that it does go retrograde very soon. Basically that's all that happens in June, but as soon as July starts, like on the 1st, I think Mars also goes into Leo, and then we have like Mercury going retrograde very soon, where it will go back into Cancer, which again, it's kind of at its detriment there, just as Mars is. And July is again like a clusterfuck of just shit, but that is for another month, and I'm gonna try to convince my dad to be the host for July's episode. So we'll see how that goes, because that's the original person that, you know, that's the OG person that I usually drink with. So we'll see what that is. But anyway, I mean, do you have anything else to add about anything, you know?
I mean,
how do you feel about the next month? Like, it being your kind of season.
It's been actually going really well.
I mean, like, I've been next month, though.
What, like July?
Or no, like June. Because
no,
it's only
I mean,
the
well,
1st.
Well,
I mean, like, today has been going very well.
So,
I've been drunk most of the day.
Yeah, first day of June. But, I mean, I guess I was thinking beginning of Gemini season altogether. So, I mean, it'll be end of May-ish.
For me, but whatever.
But Gemini season for me, honestly, has just been... I mean, it's been going well.
Well, you're thriving.
I've felt very at home in it. It's been... I am being more social. I am being more, like, productive. I'm feeling a lot better. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm enjoying it.
I'm going through some stuff. Okay, I saw this meme recently, and it was a picture of a person in a car, and it was like... Well, it showed a picture of a girl, and it was, like, a bitch. And then it showed a picture of a parking lot, and it said, a lot. And then it showed, like, a picture of the girl in a car, and it was, like, going to the parking lot. It was, like, a bitch is going through a lot right now. And that's how I've been feeling. I mean, I've been feeling this way since January. It's crazy, because I'm, like, I'm gonna start this business, like, in the most tumultuous, weird, growthy part of my life. I mean, I think I say that all the time.
Your year has been really, like, crazy, though. You haven't gotten a break yet.
And I'm just like, well, I guess I'll continue to try to do this business. But that's why we have Tipsy Future, because then I can confess these things to you and it's fine. And you get to see the human side of me, because I guess my whole brand is showing that you can be a normal person and still be a clairvoyant, you can still be a psychic, and you can still have depression and drink and have fun with people. You don't have to be this, like, weird old lady who's, like, zen all the time. You can be a human being, because that's why we incarnated.
No hating on the weird zen old ladies, though.
No, they're
just
awesome.
saying.
Like, low-key, that's what I wish for, but I'm not there yet. Because I'm 24, I'm very young, I'm young, dumb, and stung, as they say. So... Here we are. Anyway, 19 minutes, 27 seconds. I feel like 20 minutes is good. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Tipsy Future. I will see you soon. Soon and around. That's what we'll say. Yeah.